What's going on? Vincent Rapsardi, BigBlueUnbiased.com. Thank you to those who've liked, commented, and subscribed. I really appreciate you guys. Make sure to turn notifications on so every time I post, you get a notification as you can come join in on the conversation. So in this video, we're going to talk about Madre Harper. The Giants have signed him off the Raiders practice squad. What does that mean for the Giants secondary moving forward? We'll get into that. Andrew Thomas, second most pressures allowed, according to Pro Football Focus, among offensive linemen. That is not a good stat. We'll get into that. And we'll also talk about Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams is playing really, really well. I know a lot of people were against the trade for Leonard Williams and were against the franchise tag for Leonard Williams, but I always said he's a good player. He's a good pass rusher. He's a good run defender, and we'll talk about that. So let's start with Andrew Thomas. So when he was drafted, I said I would not, if I were the Giants, I would not start him at left tackle day one. I wouldn't do it. I would start him at right tackle, ease him over when he's ready. He was the 4th overall pick. High expectations playing left tackle. It's not an easy position. Tough to find good left tackles. And you don't want to throw him into the fire given the amount of expectations that are on him, right? Especially left tackle, because the offensive line has been a topic of discussion in Giants football for years, right? It's been like the topic of discussion, fixing the Giants offensive line, which last year they actually weren't that bad, but I'll get into that later in the video. But I said I wouldn't start him at left tackle day one, and just about every single person opposed me on that, and they still do because I just tweeted about it, and obviously it was an interesting conversation. A lot of people still disagree with me because they don't want to be wrong about it, but I mean, look, it is what it is. So far, Andrew Thomas has allowed the second most pressures in the NFL among offensive linemen. Bobby Hart is actually number one, former Giant, but Andrew Thomas has allowed 13 pressures. Now, pressures and sacks can sometimes be complicated things to decipher. And what I mean by that is, last year with Nate Solder and the Giants offensive line allowed 43 sacks last year. Nate Solder allowed a ton of sacks, ton of pressures, but their pass block win rate, they were actually 12th best team in pass block win rate last year. So a lot of it was actually on Daniel Jones and his pocket awareness. Being a young quarterback, maybe not progressing through reads quick enough. I actually went through every single sack that Nate Solder gave up last year, and the average time to throw was 3.2 seconds. The average NFL time to throw is 2.5 seconds. So I'm not saying Nate Solder played great, but I think that he was an average left tackle, serviceable left tackle, and his numbers looked a little bit worse. I mean, even his pass block win rate last year was average. It was actually the same as Tyron Smith and Jason Peters. But he allowed a bunch of sacks, and it made his stat line, right, look a little bit worse than he truly was. I thought he was at least an average left tackle, serviceable enough to win football games with. But right now, the Giants' offensive line is ranked 28th in pass block win rate, and they're allowing a ton of pressures. Obviously, Andrew Thomas, second among offensive linemen in total pressures, according to Pro Football Focus. So, pass block win rate among one of the worst in the league, a ton of pressure. So, in general, it looks like it's on the offensive line and they are not playing well. I had stated before the season I would start Cam Fleming at least for the first 3-4 weeks early in the season at left tackle. I know that a lot of people don't agree with that, and a lot of people think that's crazy. I don't think Cam Fleming's a great player, okay? But I think right now he's slightly better than Andrew Thomas, and I think it's more about Andrew Thomas and his development, right? I wouldn't want to force him to play a really tough position day one with no preseason, right? No preseason as a rookie. That is not easy with a ton of expectations. And think about this as well. I know a lot of people are saying, okay, just play Andrew Thomas at left tackle. If he struggles, who cares? The Giants are bad anyway. Tell that to Daniel Jones. Right now, Daniel Jones is playing for his Giants career. If the Giants win 2 or 3 games this year, Dave Gettleman is fired, okay? Which means a new GM is going to come in and probably pick his own quarterback. Probably going to draft a quarterback, most likely. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields. The Giants are going to have a top draft choice if they are that bad, 2 or 3 win team. So Daniel Jones is playing for his Giants career. So it's easy to say just play Andrew Thomas at left tackle. Even if he's bad, who cares? Let him get experience. The Giants are bad anyway. Okay, but it's going to hurt Daniel Jones. And not that Daniel Jones is blameless, okay? He has certainly made his mistakes. And I have done a video on it about his pocket awareness, specifically in the Bears game, the strip sack fumble. I didn't think it was on Andrew Thomas. I thought it was on Daniel Jones. He needs to get rid of the football quickly or quicker. So he is not blameless in any way. Daniel Jones needs to play better, especially 4 interceptions. All 4 of his interceptions, 10 yards or less. That is not good. He's not taking risks, not making big plays downfield. But the point is, you're not setting your young franchise quarterback up, or who you think is your franchise quarterback potentially, we'll see. But you're not putting him in a great spot if you're just saying, okay, well, who cares if Andrew Thomas struggles? Well, I bet Daniel Jones cares if Andrew Thomas struggles, because that means his blind side is not protected. Let's move on to Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams right now has the 4th best pass rush win rate among defensive tackles, 7th best run stop win rate among defensive tackles, 4 quarterback pressures, 4 quarterback hits, and 2 sacks. He has been outstanding this season for the New York Giants, and I told you this. I've told you this on Twitter a million times, because the Leonard Williams debate really never ends. It never sleeps, the Leonard Williams debate. Everyone always has to give their take on Leonard Williams, usually against Dave Gettleman and the trade and the franchise tag. But I've always said he's a really good pass rusher. And it's tough to find interior defensive linemen who can rush the passer the way that he can. Of course, the sack numbers are not huge, but he gets after the quarterback. He hits the quarterback. He gets pressure on the quarterback. Okay? And that's kind of his job as an interior defensive lineman. But Leonard Williams is a really good football player, and the trade is really not as bad as people have made it out to be. Okay, so let's finish up with the addition of Madre Harper. The Giants took Madre Harper, cornerback who played at Oklahoma State, also played at Southern Illinois. They took him off the Raiders practice squad. They actually paid him an extra $25,000 to get him to come to the Giants. So this move, apparently a lot of people like Madre Harper. Apparently he seems like an enticing prospect, and at some point, from what I'm hearing, could eventually start opposite James Bradberry at one of their corner spots. Corey Ballentine, by the way, did not play a single defensive snap on Sunday. He played 92% of defensive snaps in Week 1, Week 2, 45%, and in Week 3, 0. But the Corey Ballentine experiment is over. In other roster-related news, Alfred Morris and Clayton Thorson both have played under Jason Garrett with the Cowboys. They have been added to the Giants practice squad. Cooper Rush and Rod Smith have been released from the practice squad. So that's all I got. Vincent Rappisardi, Big Blue, Unbiased.com.